But after that is where it gets interesting. It's Mirage coming up afterwards, of course, a great map for Furia. They had Nuke banned out by TeamOne, of course, we didn't want to face them on that one. Inferno also banned out, so it was the best of the ones that they had left to pick. And then if needed, Vertigo as the decider. We've seen Furia play quite a lot. They only have one loss, I believe, to Gamer Legion. On the other hand, we don't really have anything to go off of for TeamOne. So I think it's going to be a tough best of 3 here for TeamOne, but they definitely have a good opportunity to start it off hot here on Train.
Well, taking a look at things, I mean, this is where TeamOne have had all their success. They had an 8-7 scoreline on their terrorist side of Train last time they played versus Furia, and ultimately that's what led them to victory. So if Furia can get off to a good start here on the CT side, that's when a little bit of hope starts to dissipate for TeamOne. We want to see them come through with the pistol and get a little bit of momentum rolling, and it's going to start with a little bit of aggression from Abel J towards upper, but as he hears steps, he decides to bail on back. And without a faster push coming down from TeamOne, now you've got 2 players ready to defend, but I think it's almost sold a fake. They kind of suspect it could be movement towards A later on. They start to get aggressive here on Art, who's getting all the information. And as he pushes through and sees nobody, now they get that rotation to B, and there's going to be 3 players here to defend as the push comes through.
Yeah, Abel J playing this Taz position. Able to find one. He does end up losing a couple of teammates, though, which becomes a big issue as he does get surrounded. And, of course, the P250 of Maluke going to finish him off and go ahead and take that final headshot on towards Vinny as well, as what actually did start off decent there for Furia. They got that control through A main, as you said. It gave them the info so that they could actually get 3 players ready over towards B, but in the end, it just wasn't enough. Some great shots being connected by TeamOne. And with that, of course, picking up that opening pistol round, now we will actually see Furia going in for the force buy. A scout coming out onto Art. 3 deagles and then a UMP for Abel J. He may be the one that's trusted to actually go in solo over towards B. And then, no, he's actually going to bring it on to... Yeah, he is indeed, actually bringing it over towards B, rather. So a little bit of a gamble coming through. He does at least have a bit of utility to back it up, though.
Yeah, it's not a terrible buy, really. For Furia, the fact that they've got that scout out on Art, so much damage could be connected by these deagles, and then just one bullet from the scout with one of those pistols connecting a shot as well, and that player's dead. With it being a very scope-centric map, you could definitely see a lot of damage being connected towards TeamOne if they're not careful in their avoidance of Art. Nade towards upper early on, it doesn't do too much. TRK down to 87 HP, and TeamOne are starting to focus their attention towards A by the looks of things, giving up all control towards upper B. And eventually looking to split in. I'd be surprised if Bid actually decides to push down through Ivy by himself, knowing that they're going to be up against somewhat of a force. It would be a risky move.
It doesn't really seem like they're going to go for a push as of yet, at least not doing so individually. They are taking their time, waiting to see if they'll be given an opportunity for a pick to come true, but eventually they are going to have to begin to push forward, rather. But with this setup from Furia, they have, of course, a great opportunity to just go ahead and surround these 2 players that are on this A-bomb site. Yuri and Casarato going to have a very difficult hold to come true. They realize now that the push is going to be coming in. Casarato takes a very quick headshot and follows it up with a second before going down. We do see Yuri as well stepping up for a quick frag. This is where it becomes an issue. TRK just wants to stick that bomb plant. There wasn't a lot of time, of course. Bit worked as a bit of a human shield, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough in the end. The bomb at least goes down, so a bit of extra money being found for TeamOne, but that force buy working out perfectly for Furia. They can go ahead and upgrade some weaponry as well.
That's a really, really powerful round for Furia to be coming out on top and pushing themselves early on into contention on their CT side where they struggled before, getting themselves those free weapons as well. It's definitely looking good for that CT side on the recovery. With the fact that Art already had so much money carried forward as well, it's a shame he's just a little bit off getting the AWP, but I don't think he'll be hurt too much by that, considering the fact that TeamOne don't have a lot of cash to work with. And although they could get somewhat of a force buy out, having got the bomb plant in the previous round does push them over to saving for the next, where they can get their full AKs out to play with. We've got 4 players towards the A side early on, conscious of a faster push. But it's Abel J that's in a lot of danger. If TeamOne decided to barrel down there early round, he would have been in a 1v5 essentially. Luckily his teammate Art does start to rotate around with that AUG to play further back and watch the lower push. This is a very difficult position for TeamOne to get anything done in. They want a bomb plant, but it's not going to happen. Completely spammed away there. Art picks them off, going down the ramp. And Abel J comes up on top. Okay, Maluka actually does get a kill from there, which is unexpected. Especially with 2 players knowing exactly where he was.
Yeah, and that jump shot could have been dangerous as well there from Able J in the end, taken down to 23. There was a small opportunity for some damage, and if that second frag came through, a good opportunity also for the bomb plant to go down. So got a little bit shaky, but in the end, they do manage to close it out relatively cleanly, keeping 4 alive. Now, of course, though, Team1 coming back onto the buy. They have the op for Maluke, they have the rifles, an okay amount of utility. I mean, it's certainly not great, but it's something that they do have the chance to try and work with, as that nade from Vinny early on does quite a bit of damage onto Maluke. Down to 61.
You don't want to be taking that damage on the AWP early on. It's nicer to have the op, though, I suppose, than an AK-47. But you do see Maluke now backing over, trying to play support, throwing the nades into play, but it's just not working. Vinny picks up 3. And with that, I mean, look, his position's known, but realistically, that shouldn't be too much bother. Very efficiently holding Pop Dog. And leaving Team1 now, with Bit falling too, with only that lit up AWP player to work with. Now, on lower HP, it's going to be easier to work with on that op. You can one-shot people and kind of avoid being hit as hard in those duels, but you know, 1v5, it's hard to really get anything done. Vinny is coming through upper, though, so if Maluke gets the timing right, he could take him down. The low HP won't really matter, though, because he's got the AWP in play. It just means if he lags him, he'll still die. But he's too worried about up in front of him, thinking about main this whole time. Vinny starts to move in, knowing where Maluke is. Maluke picks up 1. Oh, and actually a second as well. Down to 5 HP. Spots more. Wallbang onto Able J. You're into a 1v2. This is very winnable. But he's one shot from either of these weapons on such low HP.
Yeah, that is the issue. I mean, at least good damage has been put through, but winning this is going to be still a pretty difficult task for him. Of course, that off angle being held out towards the E-box, and unfortunately, as he walks back, Yuri was awaiting him up on top of that dumpster. So there we have it. Furia will be able to take themselves a 3rd round in a row, actually taking that open gun round as well. Opening gun round, rather. And forcing Team1 back down onto just the pistols once again. I mean, they don't really have money to even invest into much of an upgrade. They do have a flash coming out for a bit, a P250 for IDK. And it looks like we could be potentially seeing just another one of those B rushes coming through. It is definitely the best chance for a bomb plant, but actually they're going to look to try and take it towards Ivy. And I mean, that's understandable because we have seen Furia getting aggressive already. So I guess that's the hope again, that they could potentially catch a player up close to steal a weapon away.
They're kept back a little bit, though, from catching them off guard early on by the utility usage of the CD side. Now you've got Yuri looking to spam through that smoke, but if they do barrel towards him, he's going to be in a bit of danger. Luckily, it's kind of a choke point angle, but they could boost one up to the right and just go straight in for the push. Actually, the flash just going to go straight through the smoke. Yuri's not caught by it, and he should now be able to mow them down without the armor in play, but they swing out, capitalizing on multiple angles, making it very hard for him to take them all down in a row. You're still left in with 4v2, though, in a position that realistically doesn't hold a whole lot for the T side. That second kill almost turns into a 3rd as Quesarado goes down to 9 HP. And it could have been a pretty rough round for the CT side. Losing more than 2 rifles to that kind of buy is not what you want to see.
Yeah, it's pretty good damage just overall being put through here from Team1 when it shouldn't really be allowed. I mean, 2 kills there with the pistols is probably the most they could ask for. They only invested $800 with 2 P250s and a flash, I believe. And you can see it has kept the economy actually modest for Furia in a position where if they're to lose 1 round, they could be facing an eco onto at least a few of their players. So ideally, they need to start cleaning things up a little bit. But let's see if they can actually take the second gun round now, because the up back out, the rifles once again, aren't though looking to get aggressive. Connects a very quick shot on the TRK and is just going to go ahead and fall back off. He's happy with that man advantage. Doesn't want to give any chance for an equalizer to come true.
Team1 are spreading out here to try and find that equalizer, whether Furia want them to or not. They're going to rely on the individual duels, though, at least towards Ivy, where Bit is already pushing up quite aggressively. He is being watched, I believe. Yeah, Yuri's got a position with the AUG over towards Brown Train, just making sure that if he does walk out, he'll be taken down. Into a 5v4. I mean, Team1 at this point, they're obviously not in a great position with Bit being spotted out. He gets Molotov'd off, but they're selling a bit of information towards the A site. This causes a bit more of an aggressive play to come through from Able J. He starts to push up. Molotov is heard being thrown, so Barton now knows that he was up close, but Able luckily starts to bail on back and play the back of the bomb site with 30 seconds left. The bomb should be able to cross and get the plant in. Indeed it is. Barton picks up another kill as well, so you're in a much better position with Bit actually rotating safely through the T-spawn. This round could definitely switch over to Team1's favor with the bomb plant and a man advantage now in play. It's really, really well handled. after taking that opening loss.
Yeah, and Arth is going to have to get so much done in this position right now. There's actually a couple players, or rather one player pushed up close to him that I don't believe he has noticed as of yet. Unfortunately, getting caught off guard then by IDK as he creeps forward. Oh, that oil train and an attempted save now going to have to come true. They do manage to deal with that lurker at least, so Bit goes down. And I don't really feel like TeamOne are going to try and hunt this one themselves. They don't really have the money to do so. If they're to lose even one more weapon, rather, it could actually impact the buy that they have coming into this next round. So as you can see, not really trying to chase those weapons down. It will allow for another buy also to come through now in this upcoming round for Furia, which is quite important. Art can get the op out once again. Yuri and Caserato, on the other hand, should be able to drop some rifles over, although they will limit themselves a bit on utility. Yeah, and we can see it. Overall, a pretty solid buy is going to be able to come out for Furia.
It could definitely be worse, and it certainly will be if they lose this round. TeamOne in the same boat, though. Both economies pretty low, and at the end of the day, look, 4-2 isn't a terrible scoreline for the Tees to be working with, considering how well they pulled back the previous round as well. That does put them in a bit of a positive morale spot anyways. Vinny's herd ticked by that Molotov, so they know there's at least one close to Pop Dog, and will assume that as the molly fades that he's in there. TRK should be conscious of this, and drops a nade down to try and deal with his Pop Dog friend. Oh, that's a little bit of an awkward one if they can't trade it. There we go.
Yeah, there is damage still being done elsewhere, so even with that nade towards Vinny not doing a lot, it is still potentially a good round here for TeamOne. IDK needs this trade, which he will find on the Caserato, who was of course very low on HP already. And now Maluke ready to push up through Ivy. He does have the bomb though, so if he goes down, that's going to be a very difficult one to actually recover. Oh, and Arth right now on the up, just picking them off one by one as they emerge from the A main and Ivy position. It's all on TRK. He's been spotted. Arth does miss, so it gives a little bit of an opportunity. He does also at least expect this incoming flank, but going through the smoke instead, he's given the opportunity for the 1v1 against Arth.
It's not happening as Vinny takes down TRK. Although Arth fell, Abel J and Vinny at least survive, granting somewhat of an economic bonus towards the CT side. They can drop over those two weapons, leave one down lower. It's Yuri that's going to have to take out the MP9. As Vinny and Art presumably going to be able to reinvest, or Art dropping over a weapon rather. I think he'll taking that AVP. The TeamOne are in the rough spot. The moment the pause comes through for them, they got to decide how they want to invest their money. They could take out a couple of AKs and still come at the round decent enough. But I don't feel too great about a buy like this coming through. You've got your 3 rifles, an SMG on Barton. IDK is going to be in the same kind of position. And you're relying a lot on the TeamOne side on taking those range duels late on. We've seen that from them on 2 rounds ago when they managed to pull it back from the man disadvantage early on. A good little comes out for IDK. I thought he would have went down to an SMG for more utility to play with, but getting the bare minimums, the smoke and the flashbang, I suppose he can afford to get his good little out.
I mean, it could certainly be a worse buy here for TeamOne, and again, they know they've kept the economy so low for Furia that if they are to win that one round, they would be looking at a potentially double eco coming through. So it's an awkward position. Bit catching that aggression over towards Ivy. Yuri surprisingly all on his own. I mean, there's a player at the back of Ivy said that they won't be able to just push up. Caserato's still there to hold it down, but he wasn't in a position to actually help out his teammate at all, really. Of course, not allowing for a trade to come back. A bit of damage at least being connected by that nade, but a 5-on-4 early here for TeamOne rather is exactly what they need, especially with that weaker weaponry, because now they can just go ahead and group up late into the round and try and take it towards one of those bomb sites, because they still have utility as well.
They're finding themselves that damage is fantastic. Now, Furia want to get themselves a little bit more aggressive. They want to spot out some info as Arc goes out for the peek here. This could be dangerous. Bit was watching it the whole time, but the AWP wins out the duel, putting it back into a 4v4, but a fast push towards B as they'd maintained that control from the start of the round. Abel J is not able to do anything about it as he doesn't want to swing out and get caught in the open. Smoke goes down deep to stop them from catching anybody crossing post-plant, or indeed pre-plant, as the bomb eventually makes it there and starts to be put on the ground. Vinny comes through though, puts a couple of T's on the floor as Barton goes down. TRK pulling it back, 3v3, man disadvantage no longer in play, but the thing is, Furia have to go towards that bomb site. They have very little information. TRK gives his position away by dropping the smoke and the Molotov. He had to, really. A shot by Art. Now they know where TRK is as well. He's taken down. It's all onto ID. Very far back. He avoids getting picked off by Art on the AWP, and I thought that shot was going to connect, but then Caserato comes through and makes it inconsequential. as it's going to be 6-2, 3 weapons save forward for Furia, and winning at that 3v3 retake is definitely more than I expected from them, but playing it really well around the utility. They get themselves the advantage with the Molotov down, knowing where TRK was, then Arc comes through on the AWP pick, and from that point forward, it's a 2v3, T's have a man disadvantage, all the information to play with on the CT side. It was a position that was pretty much unrecoverable.
Yeah, no force buy this time either from TeamOne. I like it. They have kept the economy low, but just going for the pistols and Kevlar, even if they can get the damage in once again, and just give themselves that much better buy in this upcoming round. I mean, in theory, they could have bought into this one because they did have everyone above 3,700. Just would have been very limited in terms of utility unless they sacrificed down to a couple weaker weapons. So this is probably the better off. Oh, that nade could do some pretty good damage actually in towards Pop Dog. Indeed it does. IDK dropped to 68. It was a little bit of a spam as well that came through onto Biff, so the already weak enough composition for TeamOne with the weaponry being limited has been weakened even further. AbleJ in a great position, but he does get overwhelmed after only finding one. Gets a lot of info at the very least, but also gives over an M4 now to be used by TeamOne. Makes this round a little bit more doable, perhaps.
Art's got an AWP, but it's not the ideal weapon up against these pistols. Still going in for the peaks before they can close in the distance on him, but up above, it's going to be, oh, never mind. Art comes through with that on the AWP and then the USP kill, but even still, TeamOne managed to get the bomb planted. Running through the smoke, not a good idea. Barton had the M4 to play with. That's a second weapon lost for what was a brave attempt, let's put it that way, from Art to find 4 kills.
Again, though, that's a pretty successful round for TeamOne. I don't think they're going to be too worried considering what they put into it. The rebuy having to come up again for Furia. They do at least keep the op over for Art to be able to use, but after the reinvestment, we're going to see again that a lot of those players will be sitting in a position where losing one round puts them down onto a double eco. So TeamOne, they do need to start picking up them rounds pretty soon, but they've still kept it in a pretty solid position to be able to recover this half. And let's see if this is the round now where they can maybe actually start doing it, because of course they pull out everything that they need pretty much. The op, all the utility, the rifles. TRK, he likes the Krieg, we know that. He's going to have that in play as well. Oh, this could be dangerous though. The op from Art holding that lower ramp angle. I wasn't expecting them to take down TRK. Honestly, I thought it would be Barton to fall, but he ends up flicking down and quickly taking a head off.
Art's been playing so well on the early opening duels. And Bit manages to pull it back though, and this is something that surprised me, is how well TeamOne are playing from behind. In general, in this matchup in particular, I wouldn't expect them to be doing too much when they receive the opening death, and yet they've still been able to walk away with 2 rounds on the board, having only found 1 opening duel in their favor. It's decent, but 7-2, this is where they really need to step it up, and losing another player to Art is not the way to go. He's currently sitting 3 for 0 in opening duels, with 14 kills now on the board.
If I recall correctly as well, TeamOne tend to have a pretty solid T-side here on Train, and
yeah,
with this being their map choice also, as we said, it's pretty much a win condition for them, otherwise it may head onto Mirage and just be a quick 2-0, so they really need to step it up. IDK now is the last man standing in a 1-on-3. A very easy finish from for Yuri, rather, as he's playing from Heaven, so that will be Furia managing to win out another gun round, keeping 3 players alive. No bomb plant coming down for TeamOne, but they do actually have enough to get a pretty solid buyout once again. It's a little bit limited, perhaps. Barton could drop over that op if it's wanted, and he will indeed actually do so. So Maluke will have it in play. Pretty decent amount of utility to back up the buy as well. So there's still a good opportunity here for TeamOne. As I've said, they've continued to keep that economy low, but it's just beginning to become a little bit worrying at this point. They need to get rounds. They can keep the economy low as much as they want, but if Furia win every single round from this point forward, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's it. It doesn't matter if they've not got a whole lot of money to work with. If they just keep on winning, you'll never see the benefit of those couple of kills. And the problem is, a lot of the rounds have been close. I mean, closer than the scoreline kind of represents, or than it could represent towards the end of this half. But TeamOne just not able to follow through. And it's just been huge individual performances. Let's see if they can get the opening duel for the second time, though. As the push comes forward from Art, trying desperately to get himself 4 for 0 in opening duels. Down goes Yuri. There's the opening for TeamOne. Molotov stops Art from bailing out. Now they can push up and put him in a little bit of a difficult spot to work with. Over towards the A side, Quesarado starting to get aggressive. Wants to walk through into Pop Dog and claim a little bit of control there, knowing that they may soon lose Ivy. A second player rotates down to help out. Vinny there with a flashbang. The smoke was down, so Art could have maybe made it back, but he stays in this aggressive position. That probably won't be expected considering he had the op, but Maluke is still watching it and finds the kill. Vinny on the spray, picks up 2. Barton and Bid both fall, so it's into a 3 versus 2 and a much more winnable position now for the CT side. Knowing there's one towards Ivy, Abel J is trying to spot out Beanie. Might catch the angle onto TRK. Yes, he does. Down to a 2 versus 2, and the aggressive position from K Serato and Pop Dog shouldn't be expected as he takes IDK. This round is falling apart for TeamOne. It was looking so good early on, but Furia have somehow managed to just pull this out of the bag as Maluke is now in a 1 versus 2, has to find the 4K to win the round with 10 seconds left. He has to barrel himself straight towards the bomb site, and as he goes, oh, that's a terrible plant position for where they are as well. If he went default, maybe it could have worked. I guess he suspected a player to perhaps be towards upper, but considering the position...
Even then, he heard the flank of Caserato coming up through the ladder, so he couldn't really plant on default either. Had to pretty much go to the right side of the bomb site and plant so that he wouldn't be seen from that great train. And of course, he doesn't know that's what he needs to do. The player could have been playing around that side.
And he was previously spotted towards oil as well, so you can assume he's going to be oil, the back of upper, or indeed in actual T side of upper B. So it's just unfortunate there was good positioning there from Furia, but the round was over before that happened. I mean, the fact that they find the opening duel, they are trapped up close. That's a bad way to start this one. I mean, they've only got Deagle's, already a pretty big disadvantage to play with.
TeamOne just aren't having a good time right now. IDK gets one at least for his efforts of pushing out through that Pop Dog smoke, but Vinny, of course, up close, able to tread it back pretty easily. I mean, it's still around here that they could potentially win if they get some nice picks on those Deagles. Art is down relatively low, and they also do have still a pretty decent amount of time to work with. Main issue is they only have a flash and a nade to work with in terms of that utility, so having to take long-range duels against the rifles and also the op is not going to be an easy task. They will need to be very quick on that mouse 1 button with those peaks as well. Barton, he has an opportunity, and he actually manages to spam away. Abel J goes down, and that may give them the bomb plant. The issue is right now that it needs to be recovered, and as you can see, the player who's nearby it is going ahead and rotate it out onto the A bomb site, but another frag comes through there from TRK.
TR goes down up close, though. And they were swinging on him. They offered 1v1s at least. But in the meantime, I mean, both players have been spotted to be up close. Smoke goes down a connector to prevent any faster rotation. As Barton goes and picks up the bomb, he should be able to get the bomb plant with the current positions of the CT side. I'm only kind of curious about Vinny. As that smoke, he kind of looked to be pushing through it, and indeed he does. That's an awkward position as Bit was watching it, and now you're all left onto Yuri to try and pull this back. Prospects don't look too great. They haven't got head armor to play with at least, and no information on where he is. He knows there's at least one towards the bomb side, picks up the kill, and suspects upper as Bit's being caught now, down to 76 HP. He actually knew he was there. Oh my god, what is that shot with the USP? Bit is so unlucky to be taken down. We said he had no head armor to play with, and obviously Yuri was gambling on that and having lit him up a little bit on the AUG. But that was good from Yuri because the player was spotted towards the bottom of ladder. Yuri was coming in through CT. He spotted that the player hadn't left, he hadn't gone into connector or over towards the bomb site, or at least he hadn't seen him do that. So he takes the gamble that, okay, there's probably one towards heaven or bottom of ladder where he was previously spotted. And it works out for him now, 10-2. What a scoreline for Furia with a bye coming in from TeamOne. This is last legs. I mean, they only managed to win, I think, 16-10 with 8 rounds on their terrorist side. So if they manage to take it 10-5, they've got somewhat of a chance. But I think Furia on the T side, with their current form taken into consideration as well, they should dominate this matchup. And this veto is probably the best that it could have went for TeamOne. You've got no nuke in there, which is a huge problem. The only way it could go better is maybe if they got a Dust 2 out as well, which Furia just don't play. Even then, it's a really, Furia are a really solid individual team. But it's their instabans is maybe the only thing you could draw to. You've got Vertigo in there as a wild card for TeamOne as the decider. And this map here where they've beaten Furia, but I don't see Mirage going TeamOne's way. So this is really where they need to make that stand.
Yeah, as you said, they do need to at least bring it up to 4, I'd say, here on the T side. I mean, 5 is what they want, but we do also need to be somewhat reasonable here. Oh, TRK pushing forward, though. Actually does manage to get in front of that Molotov before it fully blooms. Takes a small bit of damage, but also takes the life of Abel J off the back of it. So he'll be happy with that. It allows now for them to actually get very aggressive on the after plant as well. And Barton spamming through manages to find a second opening. Vinny goes down, and considering all the damage that has been done to Furia consistently, you can see their economy, even with these 3 weapons being saved over, isn't going to give them a full buy in the next round. Abel J and Vinny are likely going to be limited down to SMGs that should be dropped over. Maybe a FAMAS. But it's going to be a little bit awkward. TeamOne just taking that 1 round finally is what gives them a bit of an opening back into this half. The issue is it too late?
Well, if they can pick... excuse me, if they can pick the next round up, then you're going to probably look towards an eco. or like a force by like a lot of pistols coming out from Furia in the final round. So it definitely gives them a good chance. They're hunting down, but they're not going to get there in time. Clock was too low. So 10-3. TeamOne build up a little bit of economic security. So if they do lose this one, they can still fight for the final and potentially get themselves 4 on the board. But, I mean, they really need 5 for me to believe that they've got a chance of closing this out. If it goes 11-4, and certainly 12-3, Furia should have enough runway to make them to get their way out of train this time with a victory. And like we said, Mirage obviously not looking to fly either. You're seeing the UMP come out on Able J alongside of FAMAS for Vinny. Art's currently sitting on a USP. Is there a weapon dropped from him? Yeah, there's the op in front of him. Cool.
I mean,
So
looking here at the statistics actually for Team1, although they haven't got a great win percentage rather on Mirage, they at least have never got wiped out on it. From what I can see, the biggest loss that they actually suffered was 16-10 against Singularity. It was relatively recently, but other than that, it's a lot of 16-14, 16-12, 16-13s, an overtime in there where they lost 25-23 against Peaker's advantage. It seems like it's definitely a map they can put up a fight on rather. But let's get back to this one right now, because TRK again has found some success. Bit and IDK also stepping up with this flank from Vinny. He lines them up, goes back as well, expecting Maluke, but he pre-fires a little bit preemptively.
Vinny has pulled back 2 rounds from the gutter for his team, like single-handedly won them. As the push comes through from Maluke, there's a 3rd kill for him right here. And he's only going 11 for 10 with that 3k under his belt. But you think back to the round that was looking terrible for Furia, and Vinny managed to pull off a double kill in Ivy, trading out his teammate. I think it was Art that went down on the AWP. And it's those kind of... Actually, 2 players died in Ivy, and he was there as well to swing in and find the trades. And he's pulled his team from deficits back into it at least 2 times that I'd say he's solely responsible for the round victories. They're definitely having a lot more impact than maybe it seems. And my problem is moving Mirage, Team1 not having like huge individual performances. They're not... There's a lot of rounds that they're kind of giving away that Furia are able to step it up on the individual level. Okay, TRK, talking of solo plays, he's not doing all too bad. Rushing through the Molotov, though, he goes down to 40 HP. Does Vinny expect him to be this close? Yes, he does. Takes him down, puts it into a man advantage with both Barton and Bit kind of low. Low enough that in a fight like that, Bit was actually winning the fight, but because he was so low HP, Yuri took him down. And so it's all on to Barton to pull this back, and it ain't looking all too fly. 12-3. 12-3 is not a great scoreline. He had the info on where Yuri was, so it finds him, but it's more the position of Queserato that worries me. Vinny will be expected around connector, but Queserato coming up on the flank, this is going to be a hard one to predict.
Yeah, Vinny right now just playing very passively indeed. They're going to wait for him to at least try and tap this bomb, of course, and give away his position. Not have the opportunity for him to catch anyone off guard, although he may be able to do so. Barton right now, if he peeks out, could actually catch Caserato coming out of Pop Dog, and there we go. The opportunity arises. It takes a couple of taps before he eventually finishes it off, but now he has that 1v1 up against Vinny. Back at the bomb site, though, will it be expected? He's slowing things down, gonna try and tap the bomb. Up close, finds the headshot. It was the fake, fortunately. As Vinny goes down, it will be Team1 managing to actually salvage that 4th round off the back of a massive clutch coming through.
Oh me, oh my, that was really nice from Barton. He had me so worried when I saw him take that bomb out. We kind of knew Vinny would be around the connector area. So did he, which is what surprised me when he took the bomb out. I thought, oh, come on, he should know he was there. He was thinking about it earlier. But it was a fake and a really... Obviously, he didn't expect him to be that close. He thought he would maybe start to peek from connector and he'd catch him off guard. But I'll take it, and I'm sure he will too, as it's 11-4. Team1 still have a really low chance of finishing this off. Let's not sugarcoat it. This is a terrible spot to play from up against Furia. You do not want to be at this much of a deficit as the favorites for the matchup, who are playing really well individually, come onto their attacking side, where that should shine through a little bit more so. But still, Team1 have got a chance, and one tapped away, the chance to win out the pistol starting to dissipate a little bit. They have a 4v5. Bits at least got a kit to work with alongside a frag grenade. But that's the only positive for them right now.
If this pistol is actually lost for Team1, it's going to be a very difficult recovery on this CT side for them. A good shot actually coming through from IDK, though, gives them a bit of hope now, as the push will also be committing through from Furia towards this A bomb site. The smoke goes down, it's able to isolate that fight up against IDK and Ivy. Barton trying to actually stop that bomb plant as well, ends up getting dropped through the smoke. So things just get tougher and tougher right now for TeamOne, leaving it all on the bit as he's hunted down by those Glocks. Bloodthirsty players on Furia. They wanted to finish it off quickly. It's 12-4. Furia mad about losing that previous 1 versus 3. They do manage to come out hotter, starting off the second half with a pistol round win. But TeamOne, they'll be looking for revenge. Of course, we've seen them pick up that opening pistol, and they ended up falling then to a force buy from Furia on the second round. They're looking for revenge. They want to do that themselves. A couple of scouts coming out, 3 Deagles. It's a good combination. The scouts to try and deal that initial damage to just make things easier for the Deags to spam away.
A lot of damage output in play for TeamOne at the moment. Let's see if they can make it work, as the early engagement certainly doesn't go their way. Barton also going to fall over towards the B side, and with that now into a 5 versus 3. This buy has fallen apart, but they've still got those scouts in play to try and deal damage from afar. The problem is Maluka is now trapped. He finds the headshot onto Vinny, but being peeked around, double peeked as they jumped around and avoided allowing him any angles that were favorable. It's all onto TRK to try and pull it back with the Deag, and he connects one onto Able J at least. His position now known, and long-range dueling against Quesarado, who had the AK-47 in play. It never really goes his way. The fact now that TeamOne are kind of forced into taking an eco or flushing away the rest of their half, if they just start force buying now, they'll end up in a vicious cycle of poor economic investments. And so taking the eco here, that allows Fury to go 14-4, and it's not every day you see a team come back from that scoreline, even if they're the favorites. Never mind if they're coming in up against the giant that is Furia.
Yeah, I mean, TeamOne certainly aren't a bad team themselves. It does just seem rather like they are a bit outmatched here up against Furia, although finding some success on this eco right now. Able to go ahead and actually snatch away an 8K to be retrieved. The scout as well in the hands of Maluka. I mean, there's a small opportunity. Most likely, though, those weapons should just be saved over, because bomb already going down on B without a fuse kit with no utility. And with the smokes down, of course, there's not much hope for them to actually pull off that retake. Does seem like they leave a player to hang around, though. Maluka on the scout, still in connector. And then, of course, TRK as well with that USP, maybe seeing if they can snatch away another weapon. Even just take one more weapon out of the hands of Furia in general, so that they have to put a lot of reinvestment into the following round. Oh, Caserato, though, he's the Mach 10. Yeah, I was going to say a good opportunity for him to try and build up money, but they combine with that scout and USP very well.
Able J at least manages to take down Maluka, avoiding any further weapons being lost. The TeamOne don't have a whole lot saved forward for this round. They get the 1 AK through. It's not a terrible position, though, considering the weapons they went through with in the previous. And they're kind of, I suppose, in a way, a little bit upset that they ran into a scout and an AK. If those were 2 AK-47s in Ivy, would have been a much better save forward. But at the same time, they were lucky that the scout was in play, as it wasn't able to do a whole lot against the rush. It got a tag straight away and then couldn't even switch the pistol before it was overwhelmed. Starting out this round, though, both teams obviously in a full buy. You've got full util to play with on TeamOne. Barton's going to be pushed down straight away. The Molotov does a lot of damage, but it's not enough. As Art picked off Maluka from afar, it's all down to a 5v3. And again, TeamOne should really be saving at this position with the scoreline so far gone. That's a hard decision to make. But even saving may be difficult, as Yuri is lurking towards Ivy. And this is expected for a moment, but TRK looks away from this angle. I know Yuri should be able to catch them off guard. Look at that. Bit has his back turned.
May actually go down, which he will in the end to the off of TRK, but at this point it's not really too big of a deal. Just even taking those 2 weapons, that extra 1 weapon rather, out of the hands of TeamOne is going to make them have a pretty limited buy in this upcoming round rather. And even with that, then Furia are willing to hunt this down at the moment, because they are so close to victory. Even though they don't have too much money in the reserve, they do consider it worthwhile to ensure that TeamOne into what could be the final round will be on as weak of a buy as possible. There we go, flash coming through. Aren't going to find out there's no one up close as of yet anyway. TRK, though, he is positioned around this area with the op. Able J has a chance for the flank, but he also needs to be cautious of the spawn itself. It's Molotov from Art right now. Will there be enough room for TRK to stay alive? It does seem like there will be, and IDK able to tap away, gets 3. That is some really good damage to be put through towards Furia. And I mean, it's a small bit of silver lining, but the issue is they're still 11 rounds behind right now, and they're going to need to take all 11 of those without dropping anything from this point forward. I just don't feel like it's going to be happening for them, even though they do have a pretty solid buy coming into this round at the very least. Surviving with 2 though does actually allow for them to drop over and get a pretty solid bite. So that was a positive.
Yeah, it at least puts the potential for the comeback in play for TeamOne. If they win this round, then the economy's kind of low for Furia to work with if there's no bomb plant. But at the end of the day, it's not enough. It's not a decent nade. Hit off the right wall. If it went all the way through, could have done some more damage towards Bit. But no openings to go the way of the T side this time. It's actually Maluke winning at the AWP battle, taking Art out of play, with Yuri finding one. It's a recoverable position for the T side. TRK keeps on going, though, on the side, picks one, spots... Okay, doesn't actually catch the kill on top of Green Train, but that's okay. Now Molotov'd out, though. It's not looking all too good. He's pushed into the open and eliminated. Barton's got the AWP to work with, but smoked off. Pushes through it to get a spam, but it's not going to land. And a 3v3 for Furia with low HP on Bit. This is a pretty decent position to work from, but with AbleJ quite low, there could be some warning signs starting to sound.
Yeah, but he still actually finds that headshot on towards IDK, who's coming in from behind. So it is going to be that man advantage once again claimed for Furia in this position. AbleJ looking to try and swing wide, but it's Casarado to actually go ahead and rip off ahead, because AbleJ did fall, but in the meantime, Yuri, he had gone ahead and just wrapped that bomb back around through Pop Dog over towards the B bomb site. And as the plant goes down, Barton, I'm not sure if he realizes as of yet, is going to be pushing forward. He should realize just about now, but does he expect Casarado to still be lurking? Apparently he may have, because he was definitely looking for it, but didn't expect him to be up so high on top of that